Welcome to Wrinkles Society of Hope. If this is your first time, welcome. And if you're returning, thank you so much for continuing to support Wrinkles Society of Hope. My name is Summer Carter, and I am the CEO and founder of Wrinkles. And today you are going to hear an amazing story of a mighty warrior who has been stomping through and pressing through and sharing her wrinkle stories with so many women about her journey. I can't wait for you to listen today. But before we go on, make sure you subscribe to this channel, hit that notification bell so you can hear about the amazing women that come and share their stories. And you can hear us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Continue to follow us, and I would love to do an interview with you. So hit me up so you can share your wrinkles motivational story for other women to be encouraged. Wrinkles family, I have a treat for you today. This amazing woman who is just talking her talk and making sure to go with her walk. And as you see, I am all in my pink today, but I'm gonna let her introduce herself to the Wrinkles family.
Hi, Wrinkles family. My name is Krystal Whitaker. I am a breast cancer survivor. I was diagnosed at the age of 32. I'm a mother of two boys. My youngest is autistic. I don't know. I do a lot, but then a lot of times I don't feel like I'm doing enough. So I don't know.
Yes, moms, that's what we do. We stay very busy. And I got two boys as well. So we're boy moms, and we also are March babies. We just left March last month, and amazing things that she's doing today. And as you see, although been through some stuff, still beautiful, smooth, vibrant face. How would you feel if you get a physical wrinkle?
You know, if I had a physical wrinkle, I would be okay with that. Because I view wrinkles and I view aging completely different than what I think I viewed them before my breast cancer journey. I feel like wrinkles are just a part of life, and we have to embrace it because a lot of people don't make it to the point to where they're actually aging. I lost a lot of friends. I've lost a lot of ladies that I met going through the journey. So, it's different. It's like wrinkles are nothing. Aging to me is a blessing at this point.
Yeah, so true. We see things differently when we go through something so that is so scary that we may not be here, you know. Can you talk about wrinkles or some wrinkles that you've had to press through in life in order to, be that advocate that you are today?
Well, I guess I would have to say through the journey, I've learned to really think about things. And before I get started with everything, I want everybody on the Wrinkles channel to know that I really appreciate you guys allowing me here on this platform. Summer, I thank you for what you do. And this is just my disclaimer. And I have to put this disclaimer everywhere that I go. Chemo brain is real. So sometimes I may stumble on my words. I may forget what I'm trying to say. And you may notice that I'm trying to catch up with the conversation. But that's because I've gone through a lot of chemotherapy, and a lot of women try to hide the fact or try to beat themselves up about it. But I'm upfront about chemo brain because it's a real thing that we deal with after the fact and even during the fact. But so with all of that being said, throughout my life, I've learned reflection going through my journey. And I realized that in the past, I allowed, and I want to say that again, because I want to say it loud for the people in the back. I allowed for other people to dictate my thoughts and my feelings about myself. I remember just being quiet and to myself and not really expressing my feelings. I really didn't know how to communicate. And a lot of that was whenever I opened up to communicate with people, I was labeled. I was being super sensitive. I was being extra. I was reading into something that wasn't there. And, we all know sometimes that's true, but every time I express my thoughts and my feelings, I'm being extra or I'm being, sensitive. And so I took that, and this is like growing pains, right? I took that and I was quiet. I stayed to myself because I felt like, well, maybe if I'm quiet, that'll make everybody else's life a little bit easier. I can just deal with my stuff on my own. And so I didn't realize the effects that it really had on me until going through the journey. And I had another church member who was going through the journey, and everybody told her to connect with me. And her words were, and she told me this, she said, I told them that I didn't know you. Now, imagine growing up in the same church. I'm in my 30s. My pastor has been, I'm 35. My pastor has been the pastor of our church for 30 something year, almost as long as I've been alive. And I have been in that church from the beginning, from the beginning. And I was just so to myself and guarded because of all of the things that I thought about myself. People will project certain things onto you. And when you go through it for so long, you really start to believe that narrative. Like, okay, well, maybe I'm extra. Maybe I just need to be quiet because I'm super sensitive. And then I went and I'm just like, God, what is it? Like, why am I so different? Why is it so hard for me to be understood whenever I speak? Whenever I speak, certain people don't receive me the way that I'm intending for them to receive me. But over time and going through the journey, I realized that it wasn't necessarily me. You know how they say sometimes you got to take a step back and think about the people who are actually doing these things to you. And I realized, well, you do this to this person, that person, that person, and you getting into it with this one and that one and they mama and daddy and all of this. So then at some point I was just like, okay, well, maybe it's not me, right? And going through breast cancer, being 32, not able to, I wasn't going for mammograms. Like I wasn't at the age. So I didn't really know. I just knew there was something wrong. And luckily, I received care from an urgent care facility. And the doctor who saw me, she took the matter seriously. So from that point, it was like, okay, I have somebody advocating for me to make sure that I get the mammogram and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. And then going through the journey, it was like all of the stressors from my past, from me really being stressed out at work. I worked a job where some days I was going to work at 2 a.m. and sometimes I was coming home at 3 a.m. It just really, it depended on what I was doing, like what my assignment was at that point in time. I was not happy because I missed a lot of my children, their upbringing, all of the first walks, and they're recording certain things because I'm constantly working, and I'm at work just crying like a baby because birthdays, holidays, all of these things I'm missing. And then when I come home, I'm just so tired that I really and truly, at that point, I'm just running on fumes. I did this for years. And I just remember, crying in my closet and saying, God, I know this is not the life that you intended for me to have. Like, you did not intend for me to be going through this. I had a plan in my mind of the type of mom that I thought that I would be and how active I would be in my children's life. And it was just like, you stay here and like I'm married to somebody, but when I come home, he's going to work. And then I'm taking the kids to school, in those wrinkles, it was hard just feeling like I wasn't good enough when it comes down to being a wife, a mom, and then being diagnosed with breast cancer, not to mention the trauma from the past and the things that I dealt with growing up. It was a lot. And I feel like now, reflecting back, I recognize that as women, we do a lot. And we try to be everything for everybody. I was the friend that called you whenever I seen the smallest thing on your social media, or if you sent me a text that just didn't sound right. I'm on the phone. What's wrong with you? What's going on? How you doing? I was that person. I wanted to be everything for everybody else, but I was just stressed. I was really not feeling like I was good enough. And who pours into the person that pours into everybody else? It was a loss, and I just, it's a lot of different wrinkles that I have had to work through. Um, Breast cancer brought out things that I didn't really talk about. Um, I held resentment for somebody that I didn't even know. I never met my father. My mother, amazing, strong, just everything. How moms are. She's the rock. Whenever I need her, she's there. And everything. But for some reason, it was just like growing up, I just wanted to know where I came from. Like, what was the other side of my family? Like, what is that like? Do I have siblings that I can possibly link with? And I didn't realize that I was holding on to that um into my adulthood. And some people are like, how can you miss somebody that wasn't there or that you've never met? Some people don't really truly understand because this is not their story. This is not their narrative. And like I tell people, you can't judge me because I want to just lay eyes on a person that helped create me in this world. And I held on to that for a long time. My husband knew that I held on to that, and his fear was, if we find your donor, because we're gonna be real, I'm not gonna call him dad or father or whatever, because it's just, you want to lay eyes on that person and say, I got your nose, I got this or whatever. It's nice to meet you. How you doing? Whatever, and we're done. But my husband, his fear was, if you meet him and he's not receptive to you, how does that work? He said, because I'm not going to be, understanding. It's a lot of different wrinkles that I've held on to in just trying to protect myself, and in so many ways protect other people, and just how certain people see me. And breast cancer just showed me, like, you got to live in your truth. You have to really dig in that bag of bull crap that we carry, and you got to start dumping that stuff out. Because now I don't care about whether or not I meet my donor. I don't wonder about certain things. It would have been nice, but I realize that it's weighing on me, and there's a possibility that it'll never happen. So don't dwell on it. Appreciate what you have and the people that you have that are intentional in your life. So yeah, it's been a few wrinkles. It's been a few wrinkles. You hear my baby in the background.
Yes.
That was another one. That was another one. Even going through breast cancer summer, when I was diagnosed, my son was diagnosed with autism at the same time. Right after I got diagnosed with breast cancer, my identity was stolen because the medical network was hacked. So I'm going through treatments, getting notifications that somebody's opening up accounts in my name, and then it was just like everything else that happened. COVID. It was a lot of stuff. Like, I've been through a lot of stuff, and now it's just like you have to find the positive side to all of the stuff.
And I mean, you said so many gems. The fact is, so funny you were talking about 2 a.m. working, this, and that, stressed, unhappy at your job, unhappy with where your life is. There's so many individuals out here living that life, and that end up with cancer. Myself, I was in the most unhappy job at the time, crying at work, first time having anxiety. And then the next thing you know, I get diagnosed with cancer. What is the advice you would give out to those women and men out there that might be growing cancer because of not living What advice would you give them?
It's not worth it. Um, when, and I think it's important for me to share this. When I was diagnosed, before I was diagnosed, I knew there was something wrong. And I was like, I gotta go to the doctor. And it's important for me to share this with everybody before I answer your question, Summer. Um, when I was diagnosed, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I remember my right breast is swollen up really bad. And this is going through COVID, and I'm still going to work like it's nothing. Clockwork, I'm going to work. Oh, I'm gonna get it checked out on my off day, right? I know, right? It's embarrassing. It's horrible. Hold on, something. Can we please? Um, when I think you'll be able to use that first part. Okay. When I was diagnosed, or before I was diagnosed, I knew there was something wrong. Like my right breast is swollen up. Can you hear my son?
Yeah, it's okay. Listen, I think you're talking so much wisdom that they're not gonna worry about it.
Okay.
Keep going.
But I think it's important to share this. Before I was officially diagnosed, I knew that there was something wrong. My right breast is swollen up it's swollen up pretty big. Like for moms, whenever you're pregnant or not pregnant, but whenever you have a baby, you know how our breasts swell up full of milk. It was like that, but it was only on the right side. And I kept saying, well, I'm gonna wait until my off day and go get it checked out because, of course, it's not nothing major, and I don't want to miss work. I don't want to not be present for work and miss out on the possibility of getting the accolades, the perfect attendance, the this, the that. Because I was one of those people that went to work every day, did my job. Every year from the time I started this job up until COVID, I got efficiency awards. So I was like, well, I'm just going to wait. And on my off day, I'm going to go, my baby, my youngest, my autistic baby. My mom called me. It was pouring down raining, like thunderstorm kind of raining here in Texas that day. I was at work all day. I was dealing with the rain. And my mom told me, she said, he's not eating. He's not really drinking anything. He's just kind of laying around the house. And I called my husband because by this time my husband had picked him up in their home. And I was like, how is he acting? Is he okay? And my husband was like, I mean, he's laying around on the couch, doing his thing. He's okay. And I was like, no, my mom said that he wasn't feeling good. Let's get up and we finna take him to urgent care like right now. So I immediately jumped in, like left when I got off work, I came home. I didn't turn the car off. I didn't do nothing. I grabbed my baby and we went to urgent care to get him looked at. When we get in the room, the doctor was like, we ran all these tests. He don't have a cold. He don't have a flu. We don't really know like why he wouldn't be eating. We don't know. My baby looks up at me and he just starts smiling and he does these little ticks. And so he did a little tick and he was looking at me and he just started smiling. And I was like, okay, doc, well, while we're here, can you take a look at this? So we went into another room and that's when my journey started. And I shared this for a couple different reasons. First off, when I say that it's not worth it, I worked at the same job for 7 years. And the dedication that I had to the job seemed like it was more than the dedication that I had for myself. I feel like I put my job above my own needs. And even though it was low key, like killing me, I still was prioritizing my employment because I felt like my employment was much needed. I didn't know anything else. This is all I know. This is what I'm used to. This is how I feed my family. This is how I pay my bills. This is how I do this, that, and the other. But let me tell you what, going through my journey, my job showed me they didn't give two flying you know what about me. And it got to the point where my short-term disability checks, most of the time I'm calling up here and I'm like, hey, my check is short. I didn't get a check. Like, what's going on? Well, you didn't submit the paperwork. You didn't do this. And the icing on the cake was I went through deep lab reconstruction, right? This is the cake for me. It took the cake for me. I went through deep lab reconstruction and the lady calls me and she tells me that I was supposed to return back to work the day that I had deep lab reconstruction surgery. And I was like, yeah, no, I don't think that's, I was like, do y'all not communicate with each other? There's a lot of middlemen and a lot of, y'all aren't communicating amongst each other. I'm sitting here going through treatments, going through surgeries and this, that, and the other. And you're just not, you're not even trying to communicate and be helpful in this situation. I wasn't able to return back because I could not pass the actual physical because of the medication that I was taking. And because of that, I had been applying for other jobs when I first got diagnosed. The whole time I was applying for jobs inside of the company and they would not move me. And I'm sharing all this not because of that, me trying to make them look bad or any, it's not that. But it's just an eye opener for everyone who prioritizes your employment, because the minute you get sick, and I'm sorry to just put it out there like this, but the minute you get sick, the minute you go through something challenging in your life, just watch how fast your employers switch up. And it's like, it was a lot. It was really disheartening, but I stayed prayed up. And one thing that I do, I always, 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 always talk to God about any decisions that I make. I ended up actually just getting tired of fighting. And some people didn't understand that, oh, you should let them fire you. I was tired of fighting. Okay? I was tired of fighting. Constantly fighting for your life. You're fighting for your identity because your identity is being stolen. Dealing with, my son being diagnosed with autism. All of this, I'm tired of fighting. Every corner I turn, there's another fight. But it's some things I just prayed and I asked God, what am I supposed to do? I ended up leaving my job summer, 7 years and 0 days. It wasn't a plan. I didn't plan that. It wasn't something strategic. I looked up, I remember I was on the radio that week, one day that week, and the end of the week after I quit my job. And I just remember being in therapy and I was telling my therapist, I said, I did 7 years straight with this job. 7 years and 0 days. And I literally feel like I have nothing to show for it because of how they handled the situation. And it was really insulting to hear, well, you're eligible for rehire. That was a joke, right? So the thing that I would say to people who are crying in their closet, it's time for you to not only cry in your closet, but talk to God and ask Him for direction. Because that feeling that you're feeling in your gut is there for a reason. God does not intend for us to live a life where we're in pain and we're suffering and we're people pleasing. We have to stop, and for me, I remember just the upbringing. You got to do what you got to do. The culture, you know what I'm saying? We have to do what we got to do. We have to stay proactive. We have to tolerate things because eventually it's going to get better. But if you're dealing with the same people, the same situations, how is it going to get better? You're tolerating, or you're managing it, so you think, but in all actuality, that's stress. That's heavy weight on you. It's heavy weight on you. So you have to really analyze that situation and just say, God, what is it that I'm supposed to do in this season? Because right now I'm tired. And I know some people are like, we're not supposed to question God. We're not supposed to talk to God in a certain way, but I'm just going to be all the way real with you. I talk to him like he my daddy, and he knows how I feel. He knows my heart, and he knows what I am saying when I'm saying it. And he knows how, because he knows how we feel. He knows when it's heavy, and he tries to guide us into doing things a certain way. But it's us not paying attention because we're so focused on this right here. I was blind to the reality of um, certain trials and tribulations, health crises. I didn't know what none of that was about. I didn't understand any of that because although I had coworkers that went through it, that wasn't my reality. But the reality is, it's a reality. And, I used to always be like, I'm praying for you and I pray that everything gets better. But until you really go through it, you know, and stress will take you there. So your job, your employment, whatever it is, family, friends, associates, people that hurt you and make you feel a certain type of way, it's just not worth it. You have to let it go and you have to find joy. You have to learn how to find peace. And most importantly, the thing that I learned was God separated me from everybody. People that I thought was going to be there for me going through my journey disappeared. And he allowed me to sit with myself. And that was the deepest thing for me, crying about losing my hair. But I was like, God, I thank you. I can see all the freckles and everything on my face. I'm able to see my scalp. I don't have this in my head. I don't have that. And then, just he stripped me down, literally stripped me down just to build me back up again. And you have to, you just have to learn that you're worth it. You're worth it. And you're worth the happiness. You're worth the joy and the peace. But you also have to chase it and you have to let go of those things that do not serve that purpose in your life.
Talk that talk. Oh my goodness.
I get long-winded, Summer. I'm sorry.
No. You talking that talk because how many people are out here just going through the motions of life and not knowing that they are either killing themselves or on the verge of, let's talk about, you went through chemo and everything. I caught mine early enough that I didn't have to, but it's still the fact that cancer was growing in my body because I wasn't putting myself first. I was making sure everybody, like you said, everything that so many women especially are doing out here. I skipped my mammogram that year because of work, because I'm like, oh, I don't know. I keep pushing it back. I'll get in there. I'm good. We have to stop that.
Yeah. And even with like trying to juggle everything, I didn't know. And when you said earlier about anxiety, I didn't know what that was, right? I wasn't aware of what anxiety truly was until after the diagnosis and me going through chemo and radiation. And my breast surgeon tells me she feels as if I suffer from PTSD because I go in there sometimes and I'm just like a nervous wreck. And she was like, why do you take yourself through, like, we talk. I have a great relationship with my care team and we actually talk. And she gives me gems and she tells me based off of her knowledge, based off of what she's seen and everything. And she's like, you're gonna be fine. You just have to you gotta trust and you have to believe, and God forbid something happens, we gonna do what we gotta do, And she pours into me in a way that is comforting, but at the same time, she says, I feel like you're suffering from PTSD and even anxiety. Like, I remember when I was working before I was diagnosed. Um, I was in my kitchen one day, and the schedule was I was the one who had to take the kids to school, and we'll drop my son off at my mom's house. So I would get up early, regardless of what time I had to be at work. Now, mind you, again, I said sometimes I come home at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, but 6:30 come, gotta get the kids up because I gotta get them ready. I gotta take my oldest to school, take my youngest at that time to my mom's house, and then I gotta go to work. So there was no relaxed day. That was 7 days a week for me. 7 days. Because even on the weekends, guess what? I had to go to work. There was no sleeping in. There was none of that. And I just remember being in the kitchen one day and I just got so worked up. And it's like I was thinking about, I got to do the laundry, I got to cook, I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to make sure this is done. And then I just started breathing real heavy. And I grabbed the counter because I got so overwhelmed. And I'm in there on my sink and I'm just grabbing my sink and my breathing was just really heavy and really intense. And I just started crying. And I was like, okay, this is different. What is this? This is, and I didn't go to the doctor. I did not go to the doctor and see what it was. I just chunked it up to I was overwhelmed. But come to find out, anxiety.
Definitely
Anxiety. Yeah.
And as you take breaths now and breathe through, all that you've been through, let's say you got a shirt made. What would that shirt say about the woman that has pressed through so many wrinkles and still pressing through? What would that shirt say?
In all seasons of life, give God praise.
Yeah.
Because some of the things that I haven't mentioned, even going through, whenever I felt alone, God always sends me people. With my job, I knew for sure, who I worked for. And I knew the struggles that I was going to have initially when I got diagnosed. So some people were looking at me like, why were you diagnosed with breast cancer and then back at work the next day? Well, I have insurance that I have to make sure that I keep. So if I start not showing up, then that threatens my job because right now the doctor has not taken me off. Some people didn't understand that. And God placed an amazing director in my path at that time. And I was not really, social at work for the most part. I went in, you either saw me clocking in or walking to my car. It was one of the two. It wasn't like I'm just standing around talking and mingling and doing this and doing that. It wasn't really any of that. It was just me clocking in and, doing my thing and going home. But God had it where when it was time for me to do radiation, Miss Roberta was my manager at the time. And I just remember knowing, like, I'm finna have to fight them for, like, duty assignment. Like, I don't know how this is gonna happen. You kind of know, right? And you don't really know how it's gonna play out. You don't know what's gonna happen. But because of the position that she was in and the person that she is and her heart, she made sure that I was accommodated going through radiation. But so I had an amazing manager at the time who really made sure, and everybody is not of God. I'm just gonna throw that out there. And so it's important, especially with leadership, that people have values and they have that foundation that is of God, because a lot of times, and I've seen it for myself, people are going through the motions with everything that they're dealing with in their personal lives. And their management team is like, I don't care. This is your job. This is what you're supposed to do. This is what you get paid to do. If you can't do that, then you out. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, we ain't got time to accommodate this, that. I've seen it with my own eyes, and I've heard stories from coworkers that this has happened. This was their reality. But God made sure that in the season that I was in, that someone was planted. And not only just to accommodate me in that season when it came down to a light duty assignment, but to also show me what strength really is and what it looks like. And what it looks like to be in an environment where there's not a lot of godly influences. You know, this is work. A lot of times we don't bring spirituality or our beliefs into work, but we still have to handle people in a certain manner, if that makes sense. Like, she showed me what it looks like to show up and not what's the word I'm looking for, Summer? She showed me how to really show up and just not lose self in the midst of just trying to get a paycheck. Because, you know, some people we get blinded. You know, we chasing money. We're chasing the bag, as they say. But we lose those core values. And some people get caught up and they just become negative and not really nice people. But she was always approachable when it came down to that. I've had times where I just broke down. And it was one time that I remember I broke down and she had never seen me break down. And she was like, I'm just checking on you. And it was genuine. You know what I'm like? It was really genuine energy, and you could tell. And it was like, God, I ain't never had a manager that really cared. You know, you know, like, and it was very much needed because although at that time I was employed there were things that I needed to see because I watched her come in like every day, with a smile on her face, like there was nothing wrong. But in all actuality, I feel like we don't know what's going on in the background with people, and we don't know their thought process because when I was coming to work, I was laughing and joking. I was making everybody else laugh, and you know, we would joke and play around and stuff like that, but I was drowning on the inside. So I watched her every day come to work and dress to the nines, honey. She would every day. I'm doing a fit check every day, you know, and it was something that was foreign to me. Like I never seen, or I hadn't been around women who carried themselves in a certain way that you knew, like, don't play with me, but God, you know, it's like, don't play with me, you know, but God. And it's, you know, I'm gonna pray with you, I'm gonna pray for you, but you know, and you kind of knew that about her. It was a strength that I needed to see. And I don't want to get in her business or anything like that, but it was seeing her and seeing her not lose herself in financial gain that really helped me make the decision to walk away. Because at some point through the journey, she did the same. So she's now not my boss. And of course, I'm not there, but you know, she's not with the company anymore, but it's her strength and her resilience and the way that she carried herself in a godly manner that I needed to see.
And that's awesome to have someone take you through that journey, you know, and God always brings that ram in the bush.
Yeah.
Always bring that person or something to help you press through and get through it so that you can see that he is there through that person. Now you are being that person. And you talk about the things that you're doing in the community and how you're advocating and being a support for those women that are going through their cancer.
So, and I'm gonna try not to get winded with this one. I was, here I go chemo brain, y'all. Just give me a second. I was asked in the beginning of my journey to do an interview, and this is really what jump started it. I was asked to do an interview with the hospital and it's called Krystal Story, Pure is the Intent.
I am a 32-year-old bus operator from Forney, Texas, and I have 2 boys, 5 and 7. During the pandemic, I noticed that underneath my right arm, I had swelling. Didn't really think too much of it at first. I was like, it's just gonna be a cyst because I'm 32. But once the reality came in that they said suspicious findings, my mind was just all over the place. I immediately jumped in the car and I called my mom. I was crying and I was telling her, they want me to go and get a mammogram. They want me to go do this. And once the mammogram was done and I went to Baylor and they used the word cancer, and the lady was telling me this is very serious.
Or Pure is the Intent, Krystal Story. One of those. It's either backwards, but if you put it in YouTube, you'll see it. And the thing that made me do this interview, I remember going through the beginning of my journey, just afraid, just, all of the feelings like, God, am I going to make it to see my children grow up? Like, what is this going to be like? Like, that unknown is scary. But in the process of me going through all of that, I told God, I said, no matter what it is, no matter what you take me through, no matter what happens, I'll be as transparent as you need me to be if you just walk with me and you guide me through this. Because God, this is a lot. This is a lot. And so in the beginning of my journey, I had a lady, my nurse navigator. She approached me. Well, we were on the phone and she told me, she said, I want to introduce you to these ladies. She said, I want to introduce you to these ladies, and I don't know where it's going to take us. I don't know what it's going to do. She was like, I just feel like my nurse navigator, she called me one day and she told me, she said, I want you to meet these ladies. She said, I don't know, where to take us or what's going to happen going through. She said, but I really want you to meet these ladies. And I was like, what? She was like, we want to interview you for your story. She said, now you can say no. But the ironic part about it was, Summer, before that happened, I talked to God and I told him, as long as you walk with me, I'll be as transparent as you need me to be. And so at that point, it was like, I have to be obedient to whatever it is that I told God, because just imagine if God said, okay, I'm going to heal you, but then he forfeit the deal. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, God, I already said that I'm going to be transparent. So I knew beforehand that I was going to say yes. But the thing that really did it for me was all of the interviews that I saw going through, all of the interviews that they sent me, none of those women looked like us. None of those women looked like us. And I was just like, okay, God, I see what you did right there. I see what you did right there. So, and some people were just like, are they paying you for this? Or, are they doing, and I was like, everything is not about money. And when you're going through this journey and you know that there's women out here that feel like, that look like us, that feel like I can't get breast cancer, it can't happen to me because all I see is other ethnicities with the breast cancer. I don't see our sisters with breast cancer. I feel like that's a problem. So me doing that interview, it allowed me to really see the impact, the reality for our culture, our people. We are not transparent. And not saying that I don't shy anybody away, but right now, to answer your question, after doing that interview, I kept saying, God, there has to be a way that I can reach ladies and men who are going through this journey. And I don't really know how to do it, but I know that there is a way to do it. And when God places something on your heart and in your mind, sometimes it keeps you up at night. And I dealt with a lot of insomnia going through chemo, okay? So I was up and I did a long post and I was like, if anybody's willing to share their stories and kind of just chat and get to talking about the struggles and the things that we go through. Please, if you're interested, inbox me. Needless to say, I did not have a lot of people, but I had some that came. And one in particular was a lady named Miho. And she lived in Japan. Major time difference. Me and Miho, we talked, and she would tell me, my English is not the best. So I'm nervous about sharing my story, but I really want to. And I was telling her, Miho, I would be impressed with her diagnosis, and Miho was never able to tell her story. But it really put a lot of things into perspective for me. And I started jumping in inboxes because I noticed that a lot of groups, people are very transparent when they're posting and asking for support in so many things. But a lot of the groups that we're in, the admins don't want you promoting or sharing, that you're doing lives to help people for whatever reason. I just started getting in people's inboxes whenever I seen that they were having a tough time, or I'll post under the comment like, hey, I'm here if you need me, please reach out. And so I have a lot of women who reach out and they'll ask me about surgeries. They'll ask me about chemo, what helped with this, what helped with that. And I was actually doing lives when I was going through my journey because I felt like it would not only make it easier for me to keep everybody in the loop with what was going on, because, you have 15, 20 people calling you. Like, what did the doctor say? I know you went to the doctor. And I was like, nope, check Facebook. I'm just going to put it on social media because it makes it easier to just keep everybody in the loop and not have, that same repetitive question, especially if it's something, like I did 6 rounds of TCHP. And then I had to do more chemo after for residual cells. So I was pretty bummed out about that. And I didn't want to repeat that conversation. So I did a live about it. And, it was a lot of support. It was a lot of positive feedback and things of such. So I took that. And I took some of the ladies that I met. And I was like, hey, let's just get on live and talk. And so we started to do that and birthed Krystal Talks Cancer. And I was very careful about the name because at first I was like, Krystal Talks Breast Cancer. And I was like, yeah, no, because I've met some amazing people throughout the journey. I met a esophageal cancer survivor and thriver. This man is literally a walking testimony. He had esophageal cancer, and they had to take his intestines and stretch them all the way up his throat. And I want him to share his story one day, but he's so busy. It's like what he is doing with his time is amazing. He's helping so many people and so many different organizations, and he's making his time count. So when I see people like that, and I want to mention that he does treatments once a week or every 2 weeks, I believe. I want to say it's once a week for the rest of his life until the medication doesn't work. So it's that perspective. He's doing this. He's not complaining. I know there's mental things, right? There's emotional things that we don't see in the background. But what is he doing with his time, really? He's choosing to help people with his time. And as I lean closer in asking God, what is it that I'm supposed to do? The vision is clear. There are some things that I'm not going to speak on just yet because God ain't gave me permission to talk about that yet. But I do have other things planned for helping people get through their journeys, because when it comes down to transparency, like, it helps more people than we realize. And just sharing your story, it can save somebody's life who's not even gone through it. I had a coworker who messaged me because I was transparent. She went and got a mammogram, and it was amazing. Like, I had old classmates texting me saying, Krystal, I went and got my mammogram. Like, I told my doctor I seen this. Nope, Krystal said, go get, and I went and got my mammogram. And I was like, girl, you go look. Because that first mammogram that I had was my last mammogram. And it was so painful. And like I tell people, anything, I've had women on the show who, one lady in particular, she didn't want to share. Like, majority of the ladies, I'm not laughing. It's like, it's that proud moment, right? Where I've been in the background, I've heard, the side effects of treatments. We've talked through that. We've lived through the surgeries together, just on my phone. Like, I'm supporting women from a distance whenever they need anything emotionally, tolerating or dealing with something. They pick up the phone and they call me or message me, and we chat about it. We air out those feelings and we get back in the fight. And so it's like, just having those type of relationships with these ladies. I know majority of them did not want to be transparent, but once you go through the journey, there comes a time where you're just ready. And so I have a lot of ladies now that are just ready to talk, and they're like, girl, listen. One in particular, she messaged me online not too long ago, and she said, I'm in my car right now, and I just want to just go live with you right now. And I was like, let's go. And the things that she shared, I think for a long time she felt embarrassed, because she said her mom used to tell her that any kind of, bumps or lesions or, something on your skin, or you just rub alcohol on it. It's fine. It's like a bug bite or something. So she went through and she expressed this, and I'm sure she doesn't mind me, retelling this, but she said that she went through her journey not knowing. She knew that there was something, there was a mass, but she was putting alcohol on it because that's what she was taught to do. And she didn't know any better to, go and get looked. She didn't know what breast cancer was. She didn't really know what it looked like, because all she seen was other ethnicities. In her words, I thought breast cancer was a white woman disease. Those were her words, because she didn't know. And because we lack that knowledge, and because, we don't really take our health seriously, because again, we're being everything for everybody else. Oh, let me just put me on the back burner. These are the things that happen, But when we are communicating and we're talking, I have people who join the lives and watch, who have not even been through the journey. I have nurses that come on, and they watch. My care team, a lot of them are on my social media. So they're like really into the lives, and, they really pour into everything that I'm doing. And so in the future, I'm praying on it, but I'm praying that, you know, I have doctors and nurses and, people to come on and just really answer the questions, the pressing questions that people who are going through and really want to know, because we all got different care teams. My care team was amazing. God directed me to those people in a way that I knew that He was a part of my journey in the beginning, but in the future, I just foresee me helping other people get through and be okay. One way, whether it's through just talking through it, or even creating events. Like, God has shown me visions, and I don't, like, again, it's like I'm excited. God will give you a glimpse, but He won't give you the full picture. He won't show you everything that it takes to get there. And I've been doing a lot of stuff in the background, just preparing for what God has shown me. And it's extremely humbling, because breast cancer gave me a voice. And not only did it give me a voice, it gave me the courage to not only speak up for myself, but for other people. Because we are, I believe that God placed us here to be of assistance to each other.
Definitely, definitely. And your purpose has already been very impactful. How can people follow you and make sure they're listening in on these amazing discussions that you're having?
So I have everything is going through my personal page. So everyone can follow me on Facebook, Krystal Smallwood. Right now my profile picture is me with the white jacket on, and I have a YouTube channel for Krystal Talks Cancer that I am currently, it's in the works to get everything going, you know. I'm excited about that. And I even, no, God ain't told me to share that just yet. Not yet. Okay. But yeah, whenever, you know, the time comes for me to share more, I'm definitely going to reach out and let you know.
For sure, let me know. And as you see those links coming across, we will follow her. But you also can go to wrinklesocietyofhope.org, where you will see a beautiful picture of her. You could click on the link and it'll go directly to where she tells me to go. For right now, to go to her Facebook. But when God tells her to share that new thing, then we'll be able to go to her YouTube channel and all those things as well. We definitely will be sharing and continue on with so many mighty things that you're already doing, because you touch me, just me going through my journey. That's how we connected. I saw you. I don't even know how we connected on Facebook or how I found you on Facebook, but you know, listening in, you were encouragement for me. And I want to thank you for being encouragement. Just
Thank
being
you.
that positive smile, that positive voice, being there to just make me feel like I could make it through. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Because the
Thank
journey
you
is,
so much for coming to Wrinkles today to share this amazing jewels, diamonds, everything that you dropped today.
thank you. Because the journey is not easy. And I just want to encourage those who may see something and not know what it is. It doesn't hurt to get it checked, you know? And if you have gone through the journey and you want to share your journey, please connect with me and let's talk about how we can spread awareness together like me and Summer are doing. And when it comes down to the baggage and the trauma and the things that we hold on to, we have to learn how to actually surrender those things to God and allow Him to replace, restore, and remove where He sees fit.
Love it. I love it. Thank you so much for coming today, Krystal. Amazing, amazing.
Thank you, Summer, for having me. I appreciate you and I appreciate your podcast because, you know, we hold in so many things as women and the wrinkles are real. And I love, you know, the concept of wrinkles. And I saw something, I don't want to prolong this, but I do want to share this. I saw something this morning about oysters, and it said, do you know that pearls are made from impurities inside of oysters? So it has to go through something in order to create pearls. And that was just really touching to me. And I did a TikTok about it. That's another platform. And I was talking about the pearls and how it has to go through something in order to have something beautiful. So the more sand and impurities get in, the more pearls that are created. And so I thought that was amazing. And it reminds me of wrinkles and how you got to go through something in order to realize that it's actually a wrinkle and you can get through it, you know?
Yes, so true. Oh, that's so beautiful. Thank you so much. Definitely, we are pearls that have been through some rough things, but we are here to shine. There's so many women out there. You're pearls. Remember that. And all that you've been through, definitely, definitely, we are pearls and we're able to shine for other people.
It's my time to shine. It's my time to live. It's my time to fly. It's my time. It's my time. letting out